Welcome to CineMunn Podcast. I'm your host, Vince Munn, joined again by the always vibrant Benjamin Briggs.
Hey, everybody.
And the golden delicious Ty Metropolis.
Oh, God. Really?
And now it has been immortal.
Even the wife's laughing.
My wife's in the other room laughing. Sorry, that's a little bit of an inside joke from a wild Saturday night that Golden Delicious here had with a bottle of wine and some other
This is
liquor.
good wine.
Yeah, how do you remember? Anywho, so
I think
yeah.
you just said it was a bottle of wine.
We are back. I hope you joined us last week for our very first interview with local film critic Jerry Jackin. If not, you can find that in our last video, Movie Mayhem with the Movie Maven. Please do. Tonight we got a couple topics to go over. We're going to go over the brand new Avengers poster that was just released yesterday. We're going to see what's come out new on Blu-ray and DVD for you to buy and or rent. And of course, this is our last one, I promise, unless something else happens. This will be our last conversation about the Oscars as they just happened on Sunday evening. And we're going to go over our thoughts of politics, the speeches, who won, did they really, do we think they earned it? Yes, no, maybe so. So with that in mind, we're just going to jump right in with the new Avengers poster. Yesterday, Marvel Studios released their first one-sheet poster, official poster for the film, including the entire cast, plus titles above, for Avengers Age of Ultron. One thing I did notice on the poster was the, I guess you'd call it the displacement of names. Some names were in different places than they were last time at the very top of the banner. Obviously, when you do a banner, you want to get your big names first. So, in looking at that poster, I noticed that they still keep Robert Downey Jr. first. Obviously, he is the basic foundation of Marvel Studios with Iron Man. But they switched out a couple names. They threw Chris Hemsworth in second, then Mark Ruffalo in third place. Then they kind of pushed Chris Evans back to fourth place. Scarlett Johansson and Jeremy Renner kind of stayed where they were. James Spader and Samuel L. Jackson. There is later, if you go down to the bottom of the credits, you'll see other names such as Haley Atwell, Anthony Mackie, Stellan Skarsgård, all thrown in there, which basically confirms that we will probably see Falcon. Probably not in a new uniform, but at least see the character of Sam Wilson in the film. We will see Peggy Carter, which if you've been watching Agent Carter on TV, it's a great show. I actually prefer it over Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that's me. And we will get to have Dr. Selvig back again for his fourth movie after Thor, The Avengers, and Thor the Dark World. We'll get to see him again one last time, probably, unless he's signed on for more films. Benjamin, what are your thoughts on the brand new Avengers Age of Ultron poster?
Looks pretty cool, man. There's a lot of action, a lot of stuff coming at you. It almost kind of reminds me of the end of Iron Man 3, where he has all the suits flying around, everything's going at it. It just looks like a bunch of chaos, a bunch of action, so really getting my hopes up to see it.
Nice. Tommy, Golden Delicious, what do you think?
My thoughts exactly on the chaos part. I mean, looking at it right now, as we were comparing the first Avengers poster, how that was, like, it depicted the scene and things like that. It's just this one, it's like you can't really tell. You can't really tell what the scene is because there's so much going on in this thing. But again, it is the poster. It's not the trailer, the actual product itself. So I'm pretty sure the artist wanted to try to get in as much as possible and depict a bit of the story with this illustration. But I'm still hyped to see the film itself. So I mean, poster or not, whether it be crappy or good, I mean, I'd still most likely go see the film.
Yeah. I like and I don't. I like it because, again, you are getting your entire main cast in there, all the labels and everything. It does look darker. If you remember the first poster for the original Avengers back in 2012, it was very bright, a lot of color to it, blue, oranges, reds. You got a lot of stuff going on in that poster. Your main background of it was obviously New York and where the main battle at the end of the film was going to take place. This poster has been very muted down. It's a lot gray, it's darker, which I guess is suggesting more the tone of the film is going to go a little bit deeper, a little darker into it. Maybe a little more serious. Hopefully we lose some characters. Not saying that, I want them to die, but it will progress the story forward.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good thing. I'm not the biggest fan of the poster, though. I like it for what it is, but I really wanted more in there. I wanted to see Ultron added in there. If you notice at the very top, kind of towards the top where all the lead cast names are, you have Vision, but they're still keeping him obscured. They're still really not quite showing you his final look. I mean, we've seen some of the production promo pictures of him and some of the production art that's been released over the last few months, but they're still really kind of keeping him quiet. Obviously, we haven't seen him at all in the trailers. Spoken out, Paul Bettany himself, who's playing Vision, has talked in interviews and such about the character and whatnot, but still never giving you a lot about what he's going to do exactly, how much of a role he has in the film. And I actually like that. I like that, when we live in a digital age, we do our podcast as digital, there's still some mystery left in filmmaking. Because the unfortunate thing nowadays, everyone has cameras, everyone has phones, we can record whatever. You can completely destroy a movie if you want to with just that stuff and completely deflate any anticipation you have for it. And that's one thing I like about right now Age of Ultron is I don't know a lot about it. I don't know exactly what angle I'm going to go with, what the story's actually going to be. I have a basic idea, and that's great, but it's not been spoiled for me. And the same thing with Star Wars Episode 7. J.J. Abrams is very, very secretive about his movies, and so we really don't know anything outside of Star Wars aside from what he wants you to know. And I like that. And that kind of, to me, reminisces back to older Hollywood of you didn't get to know really what the movie was until it came out, and you bought your ticket and saw it. And I think that needs to come back. Because otherwise, we take it for granted and we just see it. Okay, I want to see something new now. I want to see something bigger, better, better. No, enjoy your meal. Don't just eat it. Enjoy it.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
So that's my deal. Also, just want to do a quick shout out. The guys in the visual department at Marvel Studios have finally gotten their names on the poster. If you look in their head of visual department, Ryan Meinerding and co-head Charlie Wen have finally had their names placed on a poster, which is really cool. I think those guys do a lot. They've really designed the look of the Marvel films and how we look at comic movies now, for bright colors, for design, for realism, for I want to say compatibility, but I don't think that's the right term. Functionality, I think is probably the word I'm looking for. That I believe it. Based on what they've done, the work they've done, I believe that these characters could exist in the real world. And so, just a big shout out to those guys. Congratulations for that. It is Wednesday. Benjamin has with him a list of what's new on Blu-ray and DVD for you to buy, rent. And some of these I do want to buy. So, Ben, what do we got?
Well, not too much. We'll just get right through it. Today, February 24th, we have probably one of my favorites that I can't wait to see. Big Hero 6.
Yes.
Super excited.
One.
Yes.
Whiplash. After its
Oscar win, yes, for J.K. Simmons.
Looks pretty great. For anybody who's Sons of Anarchy fan, we have the final season now on Blu-ray and DVD.
So now I can finally watch it
There
in its entirety.
Like the whole thing.
All right.
We have Horrible Bosses 2, The Majestic, Total Recall, the Arnold version, First Blood, and finally Universal Soldier. Those are the big ones that popped at me. There's some more stuff, but not a lot of things that people probably
Criterion collections and such, yeah. Universal Soldier, God, I haven't watched that in forever.
Right.
Dolph Lundgren and Van Damme. It's that one, right? It's the original one, right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Damn, that's a fun one. That's a fun one. That's a lot of fun. First Blood, I don't know why that's being... I know there was a Rambo box set a couple years back, so I'm kind of confused on that. But
yeah. Well, isn't he trying to... I mean... he did talk about one last film, Stallone, right? As far as
I think he has talked about doing one last Rambo film.
And I'm kind of wondering just if this is kind of like just to stir the hype just a tad bit.
Maybe. I know right now he's in the middle of filming Creed with Michael B. Jordan.
God, I love that band.
Not the band, not the 90s band Creed. No, we don't have our arms wide open. It's more based off of... It's the grandson of Apollo Creed from Rocky is being now trained by Rocky. Kind of like Rocky 5, except hopefully better.
Gotcha.
That's my only hope for it.
I guess that makes more sense.
So it's Rocky training Rocky.
It's Rocky training his opponent's grandson, or his friend's grandson, because they were friends by the end of the third film, or his second film. So that should be fun. All right, last topic of the night, and we probably will be going into this for a little bit because there's a lot to talk about. Ben has a lovely story which he shared with me earlier, which I really hope he shares again with you guys. Sunday night was the Oscars, Academy Awards. It's 87th annual Academy Awards. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't the greatest show. It did what it needed to do, and that was fine. Unfortunately, Neil Patrick Harris, as good a host as he is, for some reason he just did not get the audience response that I think he should have. I thought he did a fine job. I liked his jokes. I was with him. He was fast. He was witty. He kind of went with it. I think it was the audience didn't really quite know which direction to go. One of the bigger things that was pointed out was how low budget this Oscars was, and not necessarily the show itself, but the films that were up for nomination. American Sniper has made over $300 million at the box office, roughly queuing for half the amount of money that all other 7 nominees made less than that combined.
Ridiculous.
So I mean,
Crazy,
yeah, it is crazy. I mean, obviously, it lends itself to the fact that the Oscars are not based on box office. They're not based on what's popular. They're based on what they believe is good. Do we always agree with them? No. But it's nice. And obviously, it creates diversity. I wish there were some films. If we can have 10 nominees, why don't we have 10 nominees? I think if we did, you would have seen something like Guardians of the Galaxy probably thrown up there for Best Picture. Even though it probably would never have won, it still would have been nice to see it up in that ranking. And if we can have 10, go for 10. If we really only believe there's 5, then go for 5. But I think if we can have up to 10 films, nominate 10 films every year.
On an average, how many films a year? I mean, it's like sometimes 2 on a week, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
So, what you're talking about, almost 180 films, maybe somewhere around there, maybe.
Yeah, and then you got to break it down from there. As far as it's all really what's better. Ultimately, it becomes a breakdown system, and a lot of it is not necessarily we agree with. All film is subjective. It's all opinion. What I like, Ben might not like, Tommy might not like, and vice versa. What they like, I might not agree with, or I might just be like, it's a one time, and that's it for me. So, Ben, you seem to have a list there of some of the winners, and you also I remember we did a show a couple weeks back on our predictions for the Oscars. I think you won a few of those.
I got a few. I didn't get too many. Kind of thrown off here. First and foremost, we have Best Supporting Actor for J.K. Simmons. You know, it threw me off because I really didn't expect him. You know, he doesn't really get a lot of things. You know, I know him for, like I say, from the Farmers commercial. You know, we know him as J.J.
Jameson. Yeah,
I'm gonna say J.J. Abrams for a second.
J.J.
We know him from that. But just a little clip they showed of him in Whiplash, spot on, man. Like, I'm really glad he got it.
I heard he got really intense in that film.
Yeah,
the whole movie itself looks intense.
And
I want to see it, so I'm glad it's on Blu-ray now and such. I'm probably gonna rent that.
Yeah, the one thing I really liked about his speech is you can truly see the love in his eyes for his wife that he had. Like, that was pure right there, man. And it just kind of sucked. I felt that, Neil Patrick Harris I get, you gotta, rip on everybody. But after such a nice little speech and, dedicating to, his wife, his kids, telling everybody to call them moms.
Call their families,
Yeah. They just kind of, he was no sir, bum, 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 bum. Like, okay, we get it. Like, we know he's the farmer's
insurance guy.
But just, let him have it, He earned it. He did great, For sound mixing, we have Whiplash again. Actually, I think Whiplash and Grand Budapest tied for the amount. No, it was Birdman. I'm sorry, Birdman and Grand Budapest Hotel tied for the most. They both took home 4 Oscars, and Whiplash took home 3, I think.
Nice.
Whiplash also took it for sound mixing. American Sniper took it for sound editing, costume design, and makeup design for the Grand Budapest Hotel.
I was a little up in the air on that one because I know. Yes, I am a fanboy. I know Guardians of the Galaxy was up in the makeup department, and to me, again, this is opinion. Obviously, they award what they want. I thought Guardians was a little more grander in its makeup and what it did with prosthetics and such. But Grand Budapest Hotel, oh my god, that's such a fun movie. It's so fun.
But you're talking about the movie itself.
I know,
you weren't even talking about makeup. You were like, Grand Budapest Hotel.
Part of it
is awesome.
Part of it, though, is the look of the film, and part of that look is the makeup and the design, the look of the character.
That is also the reason why.
I mean, if it was more of like it was back in the late '60s, early '70s, when makeup was really actually becoming a category in the award season. Obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy would have won it shoe-in, just like Planet of the Apes. Just like Planet of the Apes won in the '60s for makeup. It was an honorary award because it was so, I guess, kind of unheard of and kind of really breaking new ground as to what Lon Chaney used to do in his older films. So, keep going.
That's one thing I liked about their speech too, is they gave a shout out to Dick Smith, kind of the pioneer of makeup stuff. Who we lost last year was really nice. Best Supporting Actress, we have Patricia Arquette for Boyhood. I really liked her speech. I agree with it about the equal pay rights for women
in Hollywood.
And not having this glass ceiling above them. So, going. It was kind of cool to see Meryl Streep get all sassy about it too. Yeah. It was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Usually she's pretty reserved. I like to think.
Yeah, reserved.
It's pretty like you go, lady. Visual effects, we have Interstellar. I think that's my first W right there. We have Feast for the best animated short. Animated feature film was Big Hero 6. Second W right there.
Because the Lego Movie wasn't nominated.
That's true.
Really?
The Lego Movie, yeah. It was actually one of the bigger controversies when the awards were announced back in January, was that the Lego Movie was not nominated. When a lot of people, not just public, but even people in the Academy itself, and a lot of Hollywood directors felt that the Lego Movie should have been nominated for what it achieved as an animated film.
Right.
Obviously it didn't. They had their own opinion, their thought on it. We have no control over that. But I think, had the Lego Movie been nominated, I think that would have won Best Picture for animated film. Or it could have even been nominated for Best Picture.
Well, the other thing, too, is between the Lego Movie and Big Hero 6. Big Hero 6 portrayed a lot more emotion than the Lego Movie. The Lego Movie was a bit
well, their emotion,
comical.
the emotion was there, though. I mean, we really go into the latter half of the film. It is really more of a reconnecting of the father and the son.
But I think
whatnot.
Big Hero 6 has more of that family appeal.
It does. Yeah.
And, like, Legos has a bit more, like...
But everything's awesome with Legos.
Yeah, I know. But just Big Hero 6, it has that appeal to it. Like, it's colorful, it stands out, it's flashy. Legos was very, like... I'm not saying it wasn't creative, it's just that it was Legos, and I feel like everyone was kind of like, okay, so that's what this looks like, and that's what that looks like. Big Hero 6, you have the combination of the art direction, you have all those kind of things, and that's what, when they say best animated film, it's a combination of all those things, not just putting Legos and animating them. So I felt like Big Hero got a bit more like on the creative side, and that's why they got their win.
They won their win. I was happy that they won. I really am. Actually, if you really look at it, even though Marvel Studios didn't win any awards this year for its categories of visual effects or makeup or anything like that, they still won because Big Hero 6 is a Marvel Entertainment brand.
Yep.
It is a Marvel comic book. It's not completely faithful to it, which is fine. I don't care about that. It is a Marvel brand, so technically Marvel has an Academy Award. Suck it, DC! No, I'm kidding. No, DC has one. Sorry, Dark Knight.
You mentioned, you already mentioned the best animated short, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was going to say, isn't Feast also the animated short with Big Hero 6?
Yes, it was. It was attached to it in its theatrical run.
That's two.
It's probably on the DVD and Blu-ray too.
Yeah, 2 birds, 1 stone.
2 birds, 1 stone. 2 birds in 1 set.
One set.
Nice.
Production design, we have Grand Budapest Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Film editing, we have Whiplash.
Okay.
Original score, we have The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Original screenplay, Birdman. Best adapted screenplay, Imitation Game.
That was kind of a shocker for a lot of people.
Think so?
I think so. I noticed a lot of... I mean, obviously you have live feed on Twitter and such and Facebook and whatnot, social media. You saw a lot of people kind of go, what the hell? How'd that happen?
But again, like you were saying earlier, it's opinionated.
It is opinionated. It really is. But I think even looking at, like, it was best adapted screenplay, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. With some of the other nominees, and there was... I don't think it was really looked at as a contender in that, which I thought was kind of great. I think that was kind of good. And it makes me want to see it more. Unfortunately, I haven't seen a lot of this year's award films yet.
So,
yeah, it's been hard. It's been hard with that.
Netflix.
Redbox.
He was, which I think was my favorite victory right here, which I thought Eddie Redmayne for The Theory of Everything.
Yes, you called that. You called that. Throughout the awards season, SAG, Golden Globes, all those things, no one was really looking at a lot of other nominees except for Michael Keaton and Eddie Redmayne. And every award show that I was looking at, Michael Keaton was winning.
Yeah.
So it seemed very much a shoo-in that he was going to take home the Oscar. He had revived his career, and he had earned it, and this, that, and the other. And when they announced Eddie Redmayne, I was taken aback a little bit. I was like, I get it in his portrayal of Hawking and such, and that really was the cornerstone of that film was his portrayal. If you didn't buy his portrayal of Hawking going through his deterioration into his disease, then you weren't going to buy the film.
Exactly.
And so he gave a very strong performance. And even up until the awards broadcast, a lot of people were kind of iffy about Redmayne even having a chance of winning because of Jupiter Ascending. It's a very different type of film, and he took a lot of heat for that film because of how... Well, Tommy, you saw Jupiter Ascending. You could speak for Redmayne's performance in that. There you go. That's all you were...
Well, to me, it was like, I didn't really, because he was supposed to be the sinister sibling.
Yeah.
He was supposed, and his voice I didn't pick that up. What I did pick up is that they were trying to mimic, like, a Voldemort, try to, like, how he's got that soft-spoken sort of thing. But the way his performance came out, the way his character looked and everything, just, he sounded to me like a very, like, worn-out senior, like old man. And if you do watch the movie, you'll understand where I'm going with that. But yeah, his character, the voice, his actions, it did not make him seem like an aggressive villain. It made him like just some guy that thinks he's entitled to everything, and it didn't make you feel his character as much. And exactly like you said, it's like his performance was just no.
So getting back to it, the fact that he won was really, I think, really gives a credit to what he can do as an actor. If you can, have a complete, you can get a lot of hard criticism for one film, and then 2 weeks later walk away with the Academy Award for another film. It really kind of destroys the whole idea that a bad film can ruin your chances at an Oscar. Because in 2008, when Eddie Murphy was nominated for Dreamgirls, right around the same time his film Norbit came out. And that came out, I think, a week or two before the Oscars. And so, obviously, that movie got hit hard with a lot of criticism, especially on Murphy. And people were like, oh, he didn't win the Oscar because of Norbit, and they ruined his chances, and da-da-da-da. Well, this shows you that really doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I mean, and I thought that was great. And obviously, Ben, you had your pick a while ago. I honestly had, I was backing the Steve Carell horse. I really was. Fox Test for me was one of the best movies I've seen this year, and I was really, really loving his performance in there as playing a darker role. If you've seen The Way Back, which I finally did last night, he plays let's say just not a nice guy. I mean, he's still redeemable, and as you go more into Foxcatcher, he's still kind of redeemable, but he's crazy, so you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. I still want to see Steve Carell play an outright sinister villain, like a bad guy with no redeeming qualities whatsoever. That you kind of like Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator. I want to play a character that if you saw him on the street, you want to beat the hell out of him, like that kind of role, or like Prince Joffrey on Game of Thrones. If you saw him in the street, you want to beat the hell out of him because he plays such a dick. He's so good at his role that you believe that's really him, and you just want to beat the crap out of him.
But then you watch him in Batman, and you're like,
well, he was younger in Batman than he was in Game of Thrones.
No, but
so
I'm just saying it's
count.
like.
All right. Benjamin?
Going off of that too, I really liked his speech too, man. A nice, really humble guy.
Yes.
Really, you could see how giddy he was.
That was nice, though. It was nice to see someone excited to win an Oscar.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see that anymore. It kind of seems like, you win your Oscar, and you kind of expect it sometimes. I mean, in the moment when they call your name, yeah, they're surprised. But by the time they get up there, most of the time they seem ready. I had it planned. This, that, and to see someone truly express genuine emotion and joy by winning that award is nice to see.
He's a younger guy too. I think a lot of the older actors too want to come off, kind of put
professional
together.
And,
But I mean, he's still a professional guy. But again, it is like you say, he's just so excited and great to see that and enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Lead actress. See, this was the one I wanted to root for, but I didn't, and I knew I should have stuck to it.
Yeah.
It was Julianne Moore and Still Alice. I knew I should have stuck to my guns.
That was one of my W's for the night. Was Julianne Moore.
But I didn't. But that's all right.
That's all right.
And topping it out, of course, was Best Picture for Birdman.
Best Picture for Birdman. Ben, you had if you remember a few weeks back, there was a lot of talk and some controversy, especially after going now over the nominees and such, that this was the quote-unquote whitest Oscars since 1998. Now I myself had got online and got into a couple of debates, and not fights, but debates, conversations, talks about it, and a lot of people saying, well, there's no diversity anymore at the Oscars, and it's just whitewashed, and it's all just white old men, and all they do is vote for white films, and, well, really no, they vote for what is the best. If you look back at last year, what won Best Picture? 12 Years a Slave. What was your protagonist? African American. what was your really? I mean, kind of your villain, if you really want to put it in terms of protagonist antagonist. Was white people. Michael Fassbender was the very rough, mean slave trader in that film.
Who was the best lead actress last year?
Won best. Best actor was Lupita Nyong'o. Mm-hmm. She won for 12 Years a Slave. Steve McQueen won for best director. He's an African American director. So we really, I mean, to say that people complain, oh well, they finally got it. They finally got it. Okay, move on. I'm tired of hearing about how downtrodden people are because of their race and whatnot. I mean, all right, we're gonna get a little personal here. I'm not white. Neither really is Ben. Golden Delicious here, he is. That's why we call him Golden Delicious. But I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. And even when they won Best Director for Birdman. No, I'm sorry, when they won Best Picture. When they won Best Picture and Sean Penn made his little green card joke, I laughed.
Right.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. And I understood it from the point of view that this is based in a friendship between two people. A private friendship that we know nothing about as an audience, as people, as a culture even. We know nothing about the friendship and how they go back and forth. If you're friends with someone, you don't just say nice things to each other. I mean, true friendship, you go back and forth, you argue, you fight. You might even not talk for a while because that's how much it means to you that you can repair it. And so maybe that's the type of friendship these people have. And for him to make that joke on stage was perfect. It was fun. It was funny. And there was nothing offensive about it. And I don't know why people got so offended about it. I mean, we live in this day and age of wanting to be so careful and not wanting to ruffle feathers. And you know what? You want to change the world? You gotta ruffle feathers. I mean, that's how we became a country. We ruffled feathers.
There is part of a. I don't know if it was a quote picked it from anything, but it's like everybody wants equality, but nobody wants it.
Yes.
And honestly, it's like that's part of what people are just complaining about right now is that, we want it to be like this, and then 5 years down the road, well, now it's not like it's a challenge anymore or something like that. I mean, I'm not saying movies in particular, it's not a challenge or whatever. I mean, earlier I just stated how many films came out a year, and only one is picked out of being Best Picture, Best Animated, Best Actor, Best Actor. I mean, that's still a challenge to overcome. And those have nothing to do with race, ethnicity, or whatever. So, and to me, this is one reason why I literally haven't watched award shows for a while, because they're very, there's a lot of political kind of background stuff in some of that. That's why when you see, to me, when I saw Seth MacFarlane host, I mean, his jokes were brutal, but it lightened the mood. It really, instead of saying, all right, let's be up all intense about this, let me give you guys this joke to kind of, go off of.
Have a little fun.
Same with Neil Patrick Harris. When he threw his jokes, is like you said, he didn't get really the
responses,
the appreciation that it deserved. And the thing was that he was well deserving. I think he was, I don't know if you want to call it cleaner or even lighter than Seth MacFarlane, but I feel like he was a little bit easier to understand and kind of be more relatable as well. And it's still I don't know. And again, it could be the members of the Academy are like, oh, we got to keep an image, so we have to kind of stay stubborn or stay this way. We can't accept these kind of jokes or whatever because it gives us a bad name. And that's the thing. It's let it out. I don't know. Just laugh, be funny.
The nice thing about the Oscars is it is a night for glitz and glamour. And obviously, it is a show. It really is a show. All of it. It's a dog and pony show from the lighting, from the songs, from the way the stage is set up, to the way even the guests come in, they're all dressed up. It becomes a big parade and everything. You have things like E! News and whatnot, and live from the red carpet and stuff like that. And it really is a show. And people they try to just push their agenda into something that really doesn't need an agenda to it. I mean, even in talking about a film like Selma. Selma's nominated for 2, maybe three nominations for Best Picture and for Best Original Song. And it won Best Original Song. But, I mean, the the lyrics and some of the stuff behind it were just so unnecessary and wanting to push the envelope. And obviously, that's pushing the envelope. That's how you get further. That's how you make progress in the world. But you need to push the right way. I mean, when you're making comments concerning civil rights movement in the 60s and then comparing them to recent events in Minnesota and such, or in Missouri, sorry, there is no comparison. This generation does not understand what their parents, what their grandparents went through,
right,
in what real discrimination is. We don't understand what real discrimination. We can say we do, or I've been bullied online. That's not, First off, if you're being bullied online, turn off the computer. Come on, you're a freaking adult. It's not that hard.
We hope you're an adult.
We do. We really do. But again, we will never understand what real discrimination is. And they talk about you Al Sharpton up in arms. Why didn't get so many other nominations? There's no black nominees for Best Actor. We have so many good black actors. You're right. We do have so many good black actors. Idris Elba, Morgan Freeman, Denzel Washington, David Oyelowo, and we have a lot of great actors. But it's about the work.
Right.
I mean, the work itself has to be worthy of the statue, and that's really what it's about. And Ben, I know you had a situation happen with you just in the last few days after the show because of this.
It's so stupid, man. Somebody put up on their Facebook page, there's racism and this in, the Oscars and it's growing roots. And I asked and I talked to him about, the comment of being the whitest, Oscars ever. And I was getting into these, it doesn't matter where, it's coming from. This is what I have to say. It doesn't matter if it was about the whitest comp or the Oscars or not. Well, yeah, it does. It does matter where it's coming from. You can't just throw it up there and I'm just going to jump on the bandwagon,
Right.
So I pointed out to this girl, I told her, I'm not going to name names because she probably doesn't want a name out there.
That's fine.
It was a female, though, I'll say that. But she, I pointed out these things about the diversity, like you say. Birdman took home 4 fucking Oscars, won Best Picture. The director is Mexican. His cinematographer, Mexican as well. I had somebody tell me, that doesn't really count because Mexican is not really a culture, not really a thing.
Wow, easy there.
Wow, no names either on that one.
Neither are Canadians, actually.
That's right, how dare you, But again, I'm not going to name names about this. But like I told him, I was like this, too many people are putting focus on the lead actor, the lead actress. All these things are worthy of respect, And even to be a nominee, it's nothing to take away from, And this gal, blocks me on Facebook, sends me a message about, this is so below me, this is not worth my time, and you're so close-minded. And of course I can't reply, she blocks me. It's like, you know what? Don't put something controversial on Facebook, on social media, if you don't want people to talk about it.
Exactly.
If you don't want to start a debate, if you don't want to start trouble,
a conversation,
you got to be able to. You got to defend your cause,
and that's how you create progress.
Yes,
you have to be able to back your argument. You can't just stick with I'm above you, and the subtext there is crap. You took the air out of my argument, so exactly. I'm just gonna block you because I have nothing else to say because you completely destroyed my entire point.
And I made this point too about the whole Grammys thing. 2 years in a row, Taylor Swift, white. Beck, yep. White. 2 years, Kanye jumps up on stage protesting about Beyonce, who just happens to be African American. I don't know if he's doing it for the race or if he's actually doing it for the talent.
He's going
off there and shooting his mouth off, and everybody thinks he's crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody's. Oh yeah, that's right. How dare Beck? How dare Taylor Swift? How dare they? Win all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's so stupid.
So Kanye's not crazy.
Kanye's crazy.
I was about to say,
that's another argument. That's another debate in and of itself.
But I was gonna say, it was like, it is a bit of the publicity and all that stuff, and like you said, it is a bandwagon thing. I mean, if this is a little bit late last year, but the whole police brutality sort of stuff, I don't know if people are still on that bandwagon and just trying to throw it in.
I'm sure if it gets brought up
to the arts, and it's like, are you really trying to? You're trying to take something so small and misconcepted, and you're trying to blow it up into something so
much bigger than it.
Yeah, and it causes more damage than it actually started out as.
And,
It's like, not to cut you off,
go ahead.
it's like, what John Legend in Common was singing about. You can't start with Rosa Parks and follow that up with Ferguson. It's not the same thing. You can't put that in the same sentence, man.
Nope.
It's not. And we talk about, wanting to, and I know we're going on a little bit of a political rant, and this is movie talk, but it's still relevant because movies are about that. That's what they're for. That's what they're there to do. They're there to address social commentary, to address social media, to address life and reality. Sometimes for escapism, sometimes to really help you understand a situation going on.
Yeah.
That being said, we talk about wanting to end racism in America and get rid of it, and you're not born racist. And you're not. Nope. It's purely nurture. It's not nature, it's nurture. But we talk about ending racism. In order to do that, you have to be able to let go. I mean, we can't say we want to end racism and, there should be no racism because of what happened in Ferguson or because of the Rodney King thing or because of police brutality or, you can't say, I want A when you're still holding on to something else. You can't do that. You can't have your cake and eat it too. I'm sorry. I mean, that's the simplest way I can put it. Maybe it's a little more ignorant to your point of view, and that's fine. It's all point of view. It's all perspective. This is mine. Yours may be different.
See, and that's to go off your point right there, man. That's the thing. I loathe it. I hate it so much. When you try to explain your point of view, they don't agree with it. Mm-hmm. They say you're so close-minded in your opinions and stuff. But they're not going to give you the time of day.
No,
they're not.
It's like, the whole, how can you see the speck of sawdust in mine with a 2x4 in yours?
Yeah.
Right.
You don't want to hear my point of view, but you want me to accept yours.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Usually when I get in
That's like the backbone of every political debate ever.
Yeah, but when I get in those debates, I actually provide sources. And I mean, like some people say, it's like, how can you say this? How can you be so close-minded? It's like, well, it's because it was reported here. But at the same time, too, it's something so small and basic and something that started out as a closed-minded thing. And it just blows up, and it's affecting this. It affects our social status now. It affects our arts. I mean, what are they hoping to achieve? I have no clue. That's not why I watch Oscars. I watch them to celebrate the arts and to try to put in something as silly and dumb as that is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
it really upsets me when I hear something. And that's why, like, for the past few years, I couldn't watch it because every single time someone says something, and it gives me like I'm at the joy. I'm at my height watching the awards, and then when I hear something political, racial, whatever like that, I'm like, I'm done. I'm out of the room. Let me go play video games or something to relieve the stress.
And my favorite thing, and this is probably the last address on it, my favorite thing is people who say that you're racist and you're ignorant and you're closed-minded about this when they are absolutely not that themselves.
Yeah.
Like I've had people tell me about the struggle of the African community who are not even African, who are not even black. And it makes me giggle quietly to myself in the privacy of my own home where it's safe. Because you're trying to tell me about something that you've never really experienced. Yeah. And it's that in and of itself is a form of ignorance. I mean, I can't tell you what it's like to live in Mexico because I've never lived in Mexico.
Me neither.
Even though I'm Mexican, I can't do that. I can't tell you what it's like to live even in different regions of the country because I've never lived there. And different regions have different perspectives, have different ways they grew up, have different ways people were raised. And again, this is the generation of instant gratification. We have the power of the internet. We have social media. We have video. We have cameras. We can do everything. We record anything. We have such great power, and we use it for such menial things, which is completely destroying what Stan Lee wrote, with great power comes great responsibility.
Sure, man.
We're taking that responsibility and we're using it the wrong way. And it's too bad, and you're not going to progress forward. And then the history is going to ask you, what took you so long? We were looking the wrong way when we were doing it. Yeah. That's really what it was.
Woo!
So
That's it, man.
That's the end of our political debate. We've had a lot of fun with this.
On a lighter note, I noticed a lot of people look like Miley Cyrus at the awards.
That's with the hair back?
Scarlett Johansson, Faye Hill, Rita Ora.
Faith Hill, that was creepy. I don't know why. Seeing her sitting there in the audience.
Scarlett's was creepy too. I'm like,
I didn't recognize her. I was like, who is that? I'm like, that's Faith Hill.
I think
really?
all the fellas got the same notice to buy the blue blazer with the black slacks, man.
Yeah.
Every cat had that on, man.
I know. That reminded me of I Love You, Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in the wedding. Yeah, he's got the blue blazer with the black pants.
Way to start it, Paul Rudd.
There you go, Paul Rudd. Ant-Man doing his thing.
Of course, Channing would bet it, but don't tell anybody.
Yeah, Channing's cool. That's it for our podcast for tonight. Once again, I was joined by the very vibrant Benjamin Briggs.
Hey.
And the golden delicious Ty Metropolis.
Oh, it's always fun.
I'm your host, Vince Munn. Please, if you enjoyed this video, if you like what we talk about, if you want to share in our conversation, please subscribe to our page. Please like this video. Please leave comments in the comments section. We'd really, really love to hear from you. And we'll be back soon. Thanks for listening. Take care.